One is 10 minutes before we start meditation, and another 20 minutes after meditation. Now, friends, I have been talking on consciousness, and I said I would start on mentality and materiality today. But after I finished yesterday's talk, I realized that I have not given little more detail on consciousness. It is incomplete. It cannot be complete anyway, anytime, because it is such a big subject. But for our understanding, we try to bring as much information as we can within this short period of time. Consciousness or vijnana is one of the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. The next topic is mentality and materiality. The things in the 5 aggregates, some of them repeat in the mentality and materiality, not the same way, but in a different way. Divide into these 5 aggregates, divided into 3, mentality, materiality, and consciousness. But the consciousness itself in the 5 aggregates is called consciousness of aggregate. As you all know, aggregate is the collection of various things. Consciousness aggregate it has 6 types of consciousness, as we all know: eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. And the consciousness plays, in fact, all the factors of dependent origination, every factor of the 12 factors plays an extremely important role in our life. So each of them can be a subject by itself because it is such a deep, involved steps. Consciousness, without consciousness, we all know we cannot do anything. Everything we have to be conscious of. Whatever we do intentionally, even the second step of dependent origination called sankhara, you cannot commit any sankhara without consciousness. Your intention, attention, all these plus consciousness. And therefore consciousness is, I think, very involved, powerful state of factors of the noble is the dependent origination. And consciousness also, I forgot to mention, is one of the 4 foods. We mentioned there are 4 foods. I don't know whether we had time to discuss it. Many of you might know the 4 types of food. Material food called kabalinkara in Pali, all edible food or food that we drink in the form of drink, all come under kabalinkara. The word kabaling is breaking into pieces. Ahara means taking in. The word ahara is noun, but verb is ahara. Ahara. Ahara in Pali means brings. When I want to ask you to bring me something, I must say in Pali, ahara. For instance, if I want to ask you to bring a book, I would ask you, potthakang ahara. Ahara means bring. So what brings? Brings that we bring into our life. Kavalinkara, from outside we bring into the body in order to maintain this body. As we know, all living beings live on food. That is called Kabbalikara. Second is Phassa. Phassa means contact, also is food uh, for various things like feeling, perceptions, and so on, begins from the contact. Uh, in one place in Buddha said, Phassa samudaya sabbe dhamma, all mental activities begins from contact. When we do not have any contact, uh, feeling, perceptions, and so forth would not arise. In contact in Mahanidana Sutta, Buddha divided into two, designation contact and impingement contact. I think this, I don't know whether we have explained it in our talk. If not, I will explain it a little more later on. And the third is Kabilikara Pasa Mano Sanchetanahara. The third is the thought. Mano Sanchetana means thought. I said Sanchetana, I mentioned Sanchetana is karma, what we create in our mind is Sanchetana. So Sanchetana means karma. And karma also, Sanchetana also is food for our committing karma. Then the last is the topic of yesterday's talk was Vijnana. So Kabalinkara, Pasahara, Manosanchetnahara, Vijnanahara. As I mentioned, Vijnana is important. That is food that feeds our body, mentality and materiality. Now, mentality and materiality is fed by consciousness, and therefore consciousness is food. Perhaps I like to start with the meditation right now. So time passes very quickly when we start talking. And so let us begin our meditation practice, and then we continue our talk after this meditation. You may look at the at the screen right now. You can see the Metta recital as we do every day. Probably by now all of you may might have missed this recital. If not, keeping in mind and these words and try to memorize. So this is very good way that we recite every day so that you can memorize. Let us begin. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother wishes her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. Without this mindfulness, this is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision. Remove desire for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. We repeat this recital and repeat our earnest wish, because this is what we want to do, and this because of this wish we started this whole series of meditation and short talks. We want to wish all those who are suffering from this sickness, disease, virus, and recover from them and return to normal health. In order to help them, many people have come forward, doctors and nurses, especially doctors may prescribe various ways, and only the nurses who execute their decision, doctors' orders. And these nurses are available 24 hours, and they are extremely patient, compassionate, insightful, smart, skillful, and quick to act. They don't have time to waste. In many, many, many situations, we know nurses really dedicate their life to this. We want them to be healthy, peaceful, strong, continue their skillful, very compassionate act supporting these people to recover. And others who help them also must be healthy, happy, delightful, and skillful to support. With all this working together in one thought in mind to see the patients recovering, and that brings them joy and happiness, that brings joy and happiness to us as well. With this intention, we practice metta. Now we start our mindfulness practice. We breathe in and out. This is our main subject of meditation, breath. We inhale paying total mindful attention, exhale with total mindful attention, noticing the touching the breath at the rims of our nostrils and expanding our lungs area and expanding our lower abdominal area. As we breathe out, we notice contraction of our lower abdominal area, chest area and leaving the breath, our leaving the nostrils, breath leaving our nostrils. And then we notice the little pause between inhaling and exhaling. And also we notice feelings, perceptions, thoughts, consciousness all flow together with inhaling and disappear, and they flow with exhaling and disappear. Always we feel new feeling, new perception, new attention, new consciousness. It happens so very quickly that it is impossible to distinction between one and the other because they happen very quickly. Anyway, as they appear and disappear together with the breath, our body relax, the breath relax, mind relax, and we experience some degree of peace. And then our greed or clinging to anything also fades away. Then we feel even better feeling, more pleasant feeling. And then we notice our resentment or anger, resistance also fade away. As that happens, our metta takes root and we feel real metta feeling. Then compassion arises. As compassion arises, joy, happiness, concentration arise. As they arise, our restlessness, sleepiness and drowsiness, resentment, greed, doubt, all fade away. As they fade away, our joy, happiness, concentration becomes stronger. And then when we gain concentration, we can notice very deep, subtle, most profound changes taking place in our body, feelings, perceptions, thought, and consciousness. When you notice all of them, they are so quickly happening, you don't have any moment to think in words. Words become impediment at that time. So that is how mind becomes very still, quiet, and peaceful. With this, let us practice. Dukkha pattaja nidukkha, bhaya pattaja nibhaya, soka pattaja nisoka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. Friends, once again I want to continue our very honest, sincere wish that we started at the beginning. And we want to together, all of us, as one human body with one voice, one intention, with one wish. We all want to wish all those who are in pain and suffering be released from pain and suffering and return to their regular, normal life, especially since yesterday many public places are open once again, and there can be many movements commuting, going to various places, and they all have to be very careful, and we wish all of them to be very mindful, careful, and will not be affected by this virus since it is asymptomatic. Nobody knows who carries it, and therefore everybody, we want to wish everybody to be very mindful and take very minute precautions so that they will be free from this virus. They will not be affected and live long in very good health. Friends, let me continue the talk on uh, mentality and materiality. Mentality is translated as name, materiality is translated as rupa. In Pali, Nāmarūpa. Nama means name, rupa means form. Let me say few words about names. Name is so pervasive. Buddha said, Namang sabbang annabhavi, nama bhiyo navijati, namasya eka dhammasya sabbeva vasa manvagu. Name dominates everything. There is nothing greater than name. Everybody everybody surrenders to the name. That is very true. We always know something by name. There, if you think of anything, that thing has a name. And we learn this from our childhood. To understand things, we have to learn names. Parents show a spoon and shows a spoon to a little child and says spoon, spoon several times, then the child will repeat, imitate it. Like that, from childhood, we learn always names. I remember a very, uh, since this is little boring, I like to say a little story. There is a story of Venerable Anuruddha. When he was, Venerable Anuruddha is very prominent monk in the Buddha's time. And there are many discourses that are related to him. And eight great noble thoughts also uh, attributed to him. Anyway, when he was a little child, little boy, playing with other children, He actually was a very, very spoiled child. The mother has never taught him the meaning of no. Whatever he asked, he got it. When he was playing, he had an assistant. He was from a royal family, it says. When he was playing, he had an assistant boy. Whenever he was hungry, he sent the boy home, asking him to bring some cake. Mother had a whole lot of cakes in the house for this child. When this boy went home, he brings some cake. One day, this child was so hungry, he ate so much cake, oily cake, and then the helping boy went home and asked for cake. Mother was so shocked. She was so confused. She did not know what to tell the boy to tell her son, because there is no cake. All the cake were finished. Then this mother told the boy to tell the son, Anuruddha, that there is no cake. Then Anuruddha said, well, then go and bring no cake. He thought no cake is another name. So he went and told the mother that son asked me to bring no cake. Mother was still confused. Then what she did was she took an empty bowl, maybe like a soup bowl, and covered with another soup bowl, uh, and asked him to go and show him this bowl. And Anuruddha uh, opened this, and there was a cake. It is said that Anuruddha had, it is of course a very, it's a story that Anuruddha had done so much meritorious deeds in his life, in the previous lives. And on the way, a deity filled the bowl, empty bowl with the cake that was more delicious than all the cakes that mother cooked, mother baked. From that time, this child began to ask mother to bring him, give him no cake. So there's a name. So I was coming from New York with a little child in his car, and he asked his father, Daddy, I want to buy a second-hand car. Then I asked him, what is the second-hand car? Ford, uh, Chevrolet, Toyota. He said, no, I want second-hand car. Then we gave him more list of more names. He said, no, I don't want any of this. I want to buy a second-hand car. So in his mind, second-hand car is a brand, a name. I was traveling in Fiji one day, and there was a tomb of a man who was a cannibal. And people wanted us to see this cannibal's tomb. And we were walking on the road towards the tomb. This man had eaten human beings. 99 of them, people say that he ate. The last one was a Christian missionary. That he killed him and boiled his flesh, and his leg was not becoming soft. Then he thought of not eating missionaries anymore. leg did not become soft. What he was trying to boil was his boot. He has never seen boot. Anyway, we went to see his room. On the way, a man said, if you step one step to the left, you are yesterday. If you put one step to the right, you will be tomorrow. And we are walking today. So, how can we understand this? He said, this is the international date line. How can we see international date line? Has anybody seen it? No. But there is something called international date line. When you travel from California to Washington, you pass 3 time zones. Have you seen any time zone? No. But there is a name. This Eastern time and Western time and uh, daylight time and so forth, names. So we are stuck up with these names. Nobody knows anything without name. So virus, COVID-19, they created this name for virus. There are all kinds of viruses. In order to distinguish this particular nasty virus, they call it COVID-19, maybe because it started in the 19th last year. So corona virus started in, this is in 19, and so forth. Anything you discover in science lab, outer space, on earth, at home, in the anywhere, workplace, computer, you just think, anything you use in your life has a name, anything and everything. We say Nibbana, a name. Can we see Nibbana? No. We have to realize it. Emptiness, sunyata, is a name. Is there anything in emptiness to see? No. Emptiness. Like that, I mean, we may have not thought of it very seriously. When you think of it very seriously, you can see everything in the universe has a name. That's called name. Now, how does that uh, relate to dependent origination? What are the names in the dependent origination? All these are names, but there are specific things, a group called mentality. When you say name, it doesn't relate to the mind. Dependent origination is talking about the mental states. As I said, dependent origination in the wider sense can apply to anything in the universe, anything, because nothing can exist by itself. They are all related, and therefore, in wider sense, we can apply to that. But uh, dependent origination is the law of repetition of birth and death, repetition of suffering. And therefore, this Nama in Pali, if you simply say name, it has a sort of a material connotation, referring to something material, visible, tangible, something. But mentality, not only visible and tangible, but also related to what is happening in the mind. And therefore, the word mentality is better than using the word name. That child's second-hand car, or that boy's no cake, or my seeing international, they have they don't have direct relationship to mentality or dependent origination, but they are names. In the dependent origination, the word nama in Pali is used for specific 5 mental states. They are feeling, perception, contact, thought, and attention. Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Phassa, Manasikara. Now they are all related to our mind. And in each of them, there is, each of them has a specific function in the dependent origination. Vedana is the factor where everything converge. That is why it is said Vedana samosarana sabbya dhamma. All the mental activities, all the mind objects converge in feelings. For instance, suffering is a feeling. It can be physical or mental, and then pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Any suffering, any feeling can fall into the group of suffering. You may say, how about a pleasant feeling? Is it suffering? In reality, yes. Why? Pleasant is pleasant when it is present. Pleasant is not pleasant when it is absent. When it leaves the mind, the body, there is no pleasantness. It becomes unpleasant. Why? There is this universal truth, established truth, root of truth, law of truth. What is that? Impermanence. Impermanence. And so feeling is, of course, directly related to dependent origination. Why and how? Feeling cannot exist by itself. Feeling arises depending on the senses, sensory object, and consciousness, contact. These 4 factors must be present to have feelings. Now, feeling we cannot see, we cannot hear, we cannot touch, we just talk about feelings. When I go to a doctor, if I have pain, doctor would ask me various questions. I answer all of them. Still, he may not understand how I feel. Then he asked me, tell me from 1 to 10. So I had to think whether I should say 5 or 10. So I had to figure out of these 10 figures, I had to figure out to tell him something. I tell him something. It may not be exactly how I feel, but he has no way to know how I feel. But I feel very intense feel. We can describe it: throbbing, pinching, poking, sad. None of these things express my feeling. These are the words they learn in their textbook, from their textbook, in their uh, colleges, universities, but they don't see my feeling. They don't feel my feeling. But I know the feeling. How do I know? Because the consciousness is there. I'm conscious, my nervous system is working, and I experience it. Through these things, I know that there's a feeling. On the other hand, materiality. Paඨavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, the earth element, air element, water element, fire elements, all together called materiality or form. But I cannot see my form. Of course, I see this outer appearance with these robes and this gray hair and sunglasses and the maldas and so forth. That is not I. This is just a form. In this form, there is earth element, air element, so forth. I cannot see earth element except this skin and so forth. I can see, but I cannot see earth element. Earth element I know only through hardness. Hardness also we cannot see. When we touch and try to press, what I feel, not the hardness, I feel something stiff. For instance, you take a block of ice, huge block of ice. You walk, you stumble over it and kick, then you feel hardness. But you cannot see hardness. Then you said, well, let me wait. After 2 hours, I walk again. Then I see water. I feel water, cold. But softness, the liquid I feel. And then I walk a little further, then I feel some heat in the water. So I feel heat. Then afterward I walk there, then everything is evaporating. I feel vapor or air. So earth element, water element, heat element, air elements are in the cube of ice. But they appear in at different times and gives me an impression that this is hard, this is soft, this is water, this is warm, this is air. That impression I get. But all of them are in that ice cube. I cannot see them. I cannot see air element, water element, fire element, earth element. I don't see. But mentality, the mind tells me, oh, it's hard. This must be earth element. Or it is watery, running. That may be water element. in the ice cube. It has temperature. Of course, these days you can take a gauge, thermometer and put the temperature. And still you don't see the temperature, the heat element. You don't see the heat element. You see the figures. For instance, from outside in winter, you look at the thermometer hanging on outside. From inside, you say temperature is 20 degrees. You don't know until you go out. From inside, you don't feel the cold. You have to go out. So you learn to tell yourself, looking at this artificial device, that the temperature is such and such. You cannot see that from inside. So you have to have a name. So number one of these five factors of mentality is, I don't number them according to any scale of importance or priority, but there has to be, when you have a list, you have to put one on the top, one on the bottom, and so forth. So in that order, in that way, without giving any priority, I use this list. Uh, First is feeling. So through the feeling is a name. We can tell others such and such is cold, such and such is hot, and so forth. So in order to communicate our mental states, we use names. And in the feelings category called mentality, and in the material category or the form category, we have to have a consciousness. We have to be, we have to be, we have to have consciousness to identify for ourselves. This is hard, soft, cold, heat, hot, and so on. And also we have to have consciousness to know this is this feeling, this is that feeling, this is such and such a feeling. Only through this we know each other. Therefore, mentality, materiality are very much closely related by consciousness. By consciousness. If we are not conscious, we don't know any of them. Even the consciousness is also a name. There's no any other way to uh, express it. And therefore, all these three, mentality, materiality, and consciousness are related. I will explain in this series of talk how they are related, how they become an integral part of the dependent origination. Uh, with this, I like to stop this morning's talk. Uh, and I'm happy that you all joined us and meditated with us. In conclusion, I must say once again, thank you for coming and participating in this little meditation and listening to short Dhamma talk. And friends, once again, I want to wish all those leaders have wisdom, insight, courage, and utmost compassion for all suffering beings to make a right decision leaving aside all their personal political agendas. They all must treat all these are living, breathing beings who love to live in peace and harmony. Nobody likes to have suffering and pain. And with compassion, wisdom, insight, may they all make right decision at this very important moment. We want, with metta, we want to wish them to have that insight, that wisdom. And also, once again, I want to wish on behalf of all of us, or altogether wish, let all these beings be free from pain, suffering, and liberate from their diseases. And as I repeated, there are many people who have lost their loved ones. I know personally few here and elsewhere, in America and elsewhere. And we all have great compassion, sympathy uh, for their status, situation, and may they all be relieved from their pain and suffering and return to normal life and live long, very good health. Thank you.